So recently there was another crash for the Boeing 737 MAX jet. Now this one happened in Ethiopia, killing 157 people on board. So that's a disaster, and it's not the first time that this specific type of aircraft has caused a crash and has, of course, um, led to the deaths of everybody on board. So now, following that, a lot of other countries have decided to decommission these jets and, you know, not really allow them into service anymore until these problems, these flaws are fixed. Now, up until recently, America's was one of them. In fact, Trump yesterday, rather than advocate for improved safety and tighter regulations on planes and making sure that these planes are, up to spec and that they don't crash and kill everybody on board, the president said this: airplanes are becoming far too complex to fly. Pilots are no longer needed. What? But rather computer scientists from MIT. I see it all the time in many products, always seeking to go one unnecessary step further, when often old and simpler is far better. Split-second decisions are needed, and the complexity creates danger. All of this for great cost, yet very little gain. I don't know about you, but I don't want Albert Einstein to be my pilot. I want great flying professionals that are allowed to easily and quickly take control of a plane. Wow. He's so dumb. Does he even realize that technology is one of the reasons that air travel is so much safer than it used to be in the old days? Look, it's not just me saying that. I'm not pulling this number out of my butt. This was written in the New York Times by Peter Baker. He said, though plane crash deaths did increase in 2018, probably because of this, the number of crashes is about a third of what it was back in the 1990s, and a quarter of what it was in the 1970s when things were apparently simpler. Hey, turns out sometimes older and simpler isn't better. And again, some of the reason that it is safer is because of new and improved safety technology. Wow. I know, who could have imagined that you take something and you make it a little bit more complicated, but guess what? That complication actually does help because this technology, like, for example, improved sensors and things like that and safety features, ends up making a flight safer. Weird how that works. But no, Donald Trump wants to go back to the good old days where airlines were and airplanes were not as regulated, not as well regulated, and not only that, but of course, they also had less technology. Because I don't want to fly with Albert Einstein. Pilot training is probably a lot better than it used to be too. Oh, hey, take note, conservatives. Sometimes change can be good. And yes, there can be issues with change as well. Issues with the technology. I think in this case, there was the sensors that were going bad. So you fix those sensors. And you make sure that, hey, before you, actually launch this plane, allow this to fly, make sure that it doesn't crash when the sensors go wrong. Weird. I know. I'm asking too much, apparently, out of the administration. But look, let's be honest. What does Trump know about airlines anyway? Oh, right, he had an airline. Whatever happened to that? Oh, like everything Donald Trump touches, that airline went bankrupt. Oops. Now, that was yesterday, right? So today, new details came out about what happened in the Ethiopia flight. And Trump, based apparently on these new findings, did announce that the United States will finally actually be grounding Boeing 737 MAX jets. Now, yesterday, when this story first dropped, Donald Trump had met with Boeing executives and was like, no, I don't need to ground that plane. Really? You don't need to? But there's an obvious problem here. No, the Boeing guy, the plane guy told me everything was okay. Well, you know what? Good that he actually said, and this is his quote on it. He said any plane currently in the air will go to its destination and be grounded upon landing until further notice. Airlines and pilots have been notified. The safety of our people is our paramount concern. Fine. That, you know what? That is a perfect thing to say. Great. Good. And a good decision. Wonderful. Again, I don't know exactly why it changed his mind. Could have been the data, or it could have been people being like, hey, this looks really bad. Maybe you need to ground these flights until they actually fix this issue. But hey, look, I'm glad he did so. I guess credit where credit is due, right? So I think they need to work out this issue. And overall, and sort of I'm getting into the macro scale here, or the big picture, I think, we need to make sure that we, regulate airlines a little bit better, and put safety paramount. I mean, look, if you're gonna, make people take off their shoes before they get on the plane, then you should probably make regulators have to regulate when it comes to airlines, and making sure that these planes are inspected and safe before takeoff. I don't think it's that much to ask, even though overall safety is actually, when it comes to flights, is actually vastly improved. As I said, I gave you that quote from the New York Times earlier, and how air travel is actually much, much safer than it used to be, unlike what President Trump seems to think. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills, and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.